now we can talk about what he has done moving forward. I can look at the past and see all of the struggles.
Sorry, keep going.
But right now, when I look at the Bears coaching staff, the fact that you have added in an Eric Bieniemy, the fact that you have added in a Dan Rashard today who was hired. I keep saying this, and this is a term I'm sure people are sick of hearing me saying it. You got
it's a lot of guys.
You got
the monsters.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
It's the Avengers.
6, 7, 8,
No, I like
9 dudes.
No, it's the monsters.
You got 9 dudes who all have developed people.
Yep.
Who all have put skins on the wall. Who all have been a part of creating a culture that has led to winning.
Winning
Super Bowls. If you don't develop here, you just ain't gonna develop.
Super Bowl,
bro. Like you're
not gonna make it.
It's straight development. I look at Al Harris, strate DB development. I look at Antoine Randall, straight wide receiver development. I look at
Eric Bieniemy,
Eric Bieniemy,
Adrian Peterson.
I look at Eric Bieniemy like not even just that.
Kansas City guys.
No.
Before that, Adrian Peterson,
attributes his next step being Eric Bieniemy. I look at Eric Bieniemy, I'm just like, well, I know he knows how to be a running back.
He's seen the best. They've all seen the best for the most part. All of them have had some of the best players.
They know what it takes.
They have seen the worst too. I think the thing about it is all these dudes have literally gotten it out of the mud to the point like you got some head coaches, you got some that's been in the gutter, that's been building up programs. You got guys now that EB's on the staff. Like I've seen a program that has been run where Poles has been there. They've won multiple championships.
Yeah.
So to Kid's point, it's like at this point, if Ben Johnson does what he says and allocates the responsibilities to the staff and they do what they're supposed to do, there should be no reason why the Bears shouldn't be winning, or at least these dudes shouldn't be developed enough to get to a Pro Bowl. By the way, I just wanted to say I think I saw Brisker at the Pro Bowl games. He did participate. I think he was an alternate.
Shout out to
I don't think Brisker got into the
I don't think Brisker got to the Pro Bowl, but he did participate. I think he was an alternate
in the game.
Yeah, he was at the Pro Bowl game.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Did anybody watch a second of the Pro Bowl?
I saw a snippet. I saw the whole snippet of it.
It was pretty fun.
I saw Jalen Johnson almost take his hip off.
Hey, the tug of war is great.
He said I recorded it and then deleted it.
I did. I was like, I don't even want to watch.
I saw the.
It was pretty fun.
That's a waste of time.
That's an interesting.
Shout out to T Fly Shy to Long Beach, $20 super chat. Shout out to you for supporting the channel like that. He says Chicago sports is a joke. The whole Bears extended a guy who is yet to draft an All-Pro. Caleb wasn't the right pick. Same old Bears hire and fire. Keep the mediocre fans happy. Tired of this Shy City Bulls, Bears, Sox, Cubs.
Oh, sorry you feel that way.
Listen, I mean,
okay.
I don't know if Caleb's the right pick or not, but I don't feel that bad about it.
I'm gonna say this: when did we do this?
Do what?
When did we do this? Hire the
Antoine Randall?
No, I'm talking about these type of this coaching staff.
Never.
Never.
So what are you talking about?
Well, now you can't allow.
But you got to see it work.
Hurt.
You got to see it work.
Yeah,
you got to see it work. I'm gonna tell you this right now. This coaching staff right now, 8 wins.
It's on paper
to start.
Right
8 wins.
Nah,
I'll say that's the lower part of the bar.
I got 9.
Hey, that's
the lower part of the bar. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that being the lower part.
That's
I'm fine with that.
Wait. It depends on who he gets on the roster.
Don't even matter.
Well,
because it's Chicago.
No, that's true.
No, it depends on who he gets on the roster.
Offensive line, yeah.
Hey, look, it sounds great.
We pick up Trey and we pick up some additional.
Say we get Trey, we get Zeitler.
That's
we
get
Will.
Now this
we've never been here.
This is
we've never been here.
We've never been here. This is a very different coaching staff. But to me, like you get excited for this, you get hyped for this. You go, oh, we got all these pieces. Now we got all these guys, and then like all of a sudden, 6 weeks into the season, we're 4-2, and we're like, oh, Super Bowl of us, baby! And then 8 weeks into the season, I don't know what that was. 8 weeks into the season, we sitting there, we're like, oh God, we've lost 4 in a row.
But let's be for real though, we've never had this, and you've never had the guys with this level of pedigree to come in and do it. You've had Matt Eberflus and his staff, and we all knew and always had question marks around it. And even you said, I don't know what's going to happen with this, but like realistically, you know, if it works out, great. But there was a good belief that it wasn't going to work out. You don't have that type of belief here. You now have people who've definitively drafted well or help draft well, develop well,
Have all been in
and
rooms.
all been in rooms to
Yeah.
actually have success.
How about
We've
this?
never had that level of experience there. So it's like
We got synergy.
How
We got
about this?
synergy
How
now.
about
I
this?
can see it being a build-up season,
Now,
but like
synergy is a great word because all these mugs come from the Saints.
Right.
Like this is not like you got
Sean
new
Payton,
faces
Trey,
working
He's a
together.
Saints guy.
Sean
for
Payton
sure.
They all the
is-
same.
is
So I
growing.
would say this. Now, history has shown that when you brought in a good DC, a prominent one. We have Marinelli. We've had Vic
We've
Fangio.
had those guys.
When you bring in the prominent, we brought in prominent DCs, and that pretty much will play out. Good defense.
Yeah.
The one time we bring in an offensive mind guy in terms of even Trestman, we had a good offense, trash defense. Nagy, I don't know what we
First
were
year
with
we
Nagy.
did.
But I'm just
First year
saying
we had a good offense.
But technically, even Adam Gase was, he got
Adam
Jay
Gase was
Cutler.
good.
Well, he got Cutler to stop throwing a lot of touchdowns. We still suck. We're still like 6-10. But this is the first time we've melded, I think, where both top offense. We got a top 5 offense in Johnson. And then we got a top 10 defensive guy in
wait,
Allen.
we have a top 10 offensive mind.
Yeah, we have a top
Okay.
5. He's been top 5 in the last 3-4
3
years. When I'm saying we've never had that guy.
3. I'll say 3.
No, he been top 5. He was 5, and then he was 1 this year.
I'll say 3.
Yeah.
Nah, but I'm talking about I'm talking about like when you termed it like when you say in terms of mine, I think it's like Shanahan, McVay, and then Johnson's like
Yeah, but
right
see,
there.
even that sounds
Reed,
great.
too.
The one thing I'll say about this coaching staff, like that sounds great, but what makes me feel better about Ben Johnson being here is not Ben Johnson.
It's the coaches.
I know Eric Bieniemy can draw up plays, and I know that he's a running back, and he's going to draw up plays that help the running back. I know that Antoine Randall was a big part of the trick plays that went on in Detroit. I know that Al Harris can develop DBs like nobody's business. I know that Dennis Allen has been a head coach and who was a coordinator and went to being a head coach and can say, okay, these are some of the missteps that I have. I know Declan Doyle. I don't know nothing about Declan Doyle. I don't know a dang thing about Declan Doyle.
He's
But
going to be a good coffee guy, get the donuts.
Wow.
It must keep saying that. He finna be doing the
He-
most
he-
work out
he
of
was- he
I was
was-
about to
everybody.
say,
with
he's the
Sean
guy that's
Payton.
going to be there late.
He's about to be
He
a
was with
slave.
Sean
Yes.
Payton.
Yes.
Yeah.
We got 500 in the chat, by the way.
Oh, 500 in the chat. No, but just like I like the fact because here's the thing that cracks me up.
Man,
bro.
fifth floor. Bruh, man, for the 5th floor.
I like the fact that, and I've said this a couple of times. This feels Mike McCarthy-ish.
Oh.
Well, no, you
Not
said
Mike
Holmgren.
McCarthy,
You
Mike
said
Holmgren-ish, right? This feels Mike Holmgren-ish.
Yeah, you do.
What kind of McCarthy? I mean,
Well,
McCarthy
he
had
came-
McCarthy had a really nice staff too,
He
actually.
came- he was
But
out, yeah.
this feels Mike Holmgren-ish, where you're sitting there and you're like, who's the dude getting the coffee and drawing that play on the board? Now that's Gruden.
John Gruden.
That's Gruden. Don't worry about him. Oh, who's that dude teaching the tight ends and then throwing that play in the playbook? Oh, that's Andy Reid. Don't worry about him. He'll be here for a little while. You know what I
I
mean?
mean, let's hope so.
Oh, who's that? Who's that? Yeah, I mean, like there
Well,
were
you're
so
hoping
many.
it's-
There were so many of those names that continued to climb the ladder because, yes, they're learning under Holmgren, but also they're like, hey, you like that? Yeah, call that.
Well, hopefully,
And all we say is, oh, what a play by Holmgren. He's one of the greatest offensive minds of all time. How'd he come up with that? That mind wasn't as great when everybody was gone.
it's like the Shanahan thing too. Like Shanahan, all those guys in Washington, all the young guys. But at the end of the day, what we have is they spent the money on the top offensive mind, and he's putting together a really good staff. So it's good to see. Like, I can't sit there and be like, oh, I don't think they're going to win. Like, you can't. They can't put this much money in, and they're proven. These are I'm just saying, it's proven guys.
We got solid potential.
I
You're
think
proven coaching. Now we'll just make sure we get these players coached up to do their thing. That's
I'm
all.
actually a
I-
little tingly because you might see more consistency with
Mm-hmm.
this staff actually staying together for a long time because nobody's
Now,
gonna
that's true.
Nobody's
Looking
going
like
to
an
run off
offense,
and
man.
say, I want to be an OC. We've seen people be that. You got Dennis Allen, who's been a head coach. You got Eric Bieniemy. He's had like 40 interviews for
Head
OC and head
coaching.
coaching. So he's probably like, I'm good where I'm at right now. You got guys that are
He back
in
the
roles
league.
You're
that
back in
are
the league.
essentially going to be okay with being here and building up that consistency and continuity. That's the biggest thing I like is now you're forming a team that's going to be, together for a while.
And then talking about all these coaches when they spoke, especially when we talk about Dennis and things of that nature, they're all bought into the success of Ben Johnson.
Yeah.
There is no vying. You don't feel like someone's vying and just waiting for the opportunity, like you just mentioned, to just jump ship. And realistically, when I look at this list and I think about the potential that we have, I see a bunch of people may not be here. I see the Detroit Lions again, where you're gonna have a bunch of people that success. They may not win a Super Bowl. We may not win a Super Bowl. But to change our organization around to be a high-powered offense, to now be a real contender, to now be relevant in modern football, it's a bunch of people here who are like, "Hey, this is my step up to the next thing." Eric B's been looking for a job forever. Yeah. He's supposed to be a head coach.
No, he's not going nowhere. Nobody gonna hire him.
I think that Eric Bieniemy
Potentially.
kind of.
No.
I think that he's.
Dennis was one. I mean, all these people want to be back.
The red. You know what I mean? The.
We want him.
I'm
to
gonna
be a
get after
Fangio.
you. I think he's more of a. I'm going to give you tough love, and he don't know the love part of the tough love. You know what I mean?
He's a good cop, bad cop,
tough.
only being bad.
Only being bad cop. He's remember in other guys where he was like they was doing good cop, bad cop, and he was like, oh, I want to talk to that guy. He's like, you want to talk to me? You want to talk to me?
I want to talk to
good cop.
He's supposed to. Oh, I know.
I thought we were doing bad cop, bad cop. I never heard of that.
No. I got a question, Pat. Is Bieniemy a product of the Rooney Rule, though? Like, everybody knows that he's probably going to be a good candidate for head coach, but they just bring him in because
no, I think
they did that to Eddie George.
They did that to Eddie George. Yeah. Legitimately.
I'm talking about this past interviews.
No, because I think if Eric Bieniemy from that tree was a really good head coach,
Gucci said something positive,
or had a. I think he knows a ton of football.
Yeah,
I think he doesn't know how to convey that to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
If he had a better showing in Washington,
it's a head coaching interview is a job interview.
Yeah,
I mean, hey, so Eric, what is your plan? And I don't know if this is how it went, but Eric, what's your plan to get the quarterback back on track? Oh, we're gonna whip him into shape. All right, wait a minute.
Literally,
I don't know if that's the answer we're looking for. That
very generic.
You have to be able to answer it, and I don't know if he can. I also know that remember in Washington. Like the players came to him and were like, "Yo, he talking a little reckless."
His communication style has been the knock around the NFL circle, so that's why he's potentially not going to go anywhere.
Yeah,
is he Brian Flores?
So he's good in his role then.
Yes, he's not as aggressive as Brian Flores, but his communication is
he
lacking.
might be more.
He might be more.
Telling to it like you coming in to work every day and telling him like you suck at your job is.
But remember, we spoke about certain people. There's a certain way of like how you delegate, and there's managers, there's worker bees, and certain guys are good in certain roles. And when you elevate them, see how they do with that. Mm-hmm. He's probably very good at his specific position, or because when you're like you said, Ben Johnson as an OC, he's delegating work to Declan Doyle. And then they all have to talk to the other position coaches. Some guys are just really good at being coaches. Some guys are not. Some guys are not ready to be a head coach because at the end of the day, it's like you're still a CEO in your realm as you delegate to certain coaches. The whole point with Ben Johnson, with Dennis Allen, I don't have to come over to the defensive room. I'm gonna check in with you. What we're doing, cool. We're gonna be aligned, but I don't have to be there because I got a guy that's been there, that's done it. So Dennis Allen wasn't necessarily good as a head coach. Great DC. Said the same thing about Eberflus. Not necessarily
got with the pass game coordinator.
That's what we're getting.
He was smart enough to drop the Philly special.
So some guys are
terrible
very good
in Jacksonville.
Some guys are very good in certain
roles.
roles. It doesn't mean that they all have to get promoted.
Yeah. I like comments like this. Rex Smith didn't seem to be a problem for good players in KC. Everybody's style don't work everywhere. Yeah, that's what you have to have as a head coach. As a head coach, my style can't just work for the offensive dudes. It's got to work for the defensive dudes. It's got to work for the special teams dudes. It's got to work for the coaches in the building. It's got to work for the dudes in the lunchroom. It's got to work for the janitor. It's got to work for everybody in the organization because I am the guy.
Yeah.
It can't be, it worked in KC, so it should work everywhere. That's not the case.
Also, the coaching.
No, great example, right? Great example. Doc Rivers worked in Boston.
With the right,
you had the right mindset of people. You had Kevin Garnett, who was like, "Oh, you gonna cuss me out? I'm gonna cuss you out back, and I'm gonna punch you." And he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna punch you back, and I'm gonna stab you." And he was like, "Oh, well, we friends now." Like you had Paul Pierce, who was okay with that. You had Ray Allen, who was okay with that. Your leaders of the team were okay with that. If they love Eric Bieniemy, if Pat Mahomes loves Eric Bieniemy, guess what?
He got cussed out.
The rest of y'all love Eric Bieniemy because I'm the best player on the team.
Right.
If I'm the best player on the team, you gonna love who I love because that's what's gonna get me. That's what's gonna get the best out of me.
I love that.
To me, I think is why with head coaching is very different, and why I think I like Eric Bieniemy in this role. I wouldn't mind him in an OC role because Ben Johnson is doing a lot of the play calling. We've seen him be able to do that. I just think you're setting up a staff though that I'll bet you Eric Bieniemy probably draws up great plays. has a good mind.
I'm sure he does.
You know what I mean? So
well, the main thing is that you know how to coach those running backs. If Roshan gets anything out of this, if he's still going to be here, if Swift ends up being a better running back, or if we have to do another running back room, but he's seen the best, he's coached the best, and a lot of these guys have done that, which is great. That's all we want is that you're not bringing in guys that don't know what they're doing, so they don't know how to push the pedal to the metal on certain players or when to coach or how to coach some of these guys.
Yeah,
most of these guys, I can't speak for. Bill Johnson or what's our O-line coach?
Dan Rashad.
Yeah, we got to do some research on that guy.
Yeah. So the whole point is that hopefully with Johnson surrounding himself with key or talented coaches, we should be good. One more on the next.
Hey, why that running back?